Before Luka Doncic or Victor Wembanyama, Ricky Rubio was the first European YouTube sensation. Did you hear about this 14-year-old who dropped a 51-point triple-double? He was a myth like Bigfoot. Then Americans saw him as a 17-year-old starting for the Olympic gold medal. Rubio cooked Jason Kidd and Chris Paul, but his skills never developed and his team became a punchline for drafting him. Normally that throws people into a depression, but something else took Rubio down instead. Now at 32 years old, I have decided to stop my professional activity to take care of my mental health. What happened? Rubio's from Spain and became their youngest pro player at 14 for DKV. His nickname was La Pistola after Pete Maravich for his fancy no-look passes, but his big break came in the U16 title game against Russia. Rubio dropped 51 points, 24 boards, 12 assists and 7 steals. Everyone in Europe knew his name and NBA scouts took notice, but Rubio comes from a strong family who kept him humble, especially his mom, who stayed so close to Ricky it caused problems later on. In the 08 Olympics, not only did he start at 17 and play well, but his defense on Jason Kidd and CP was good. So in 09, he was one of the most hyped draft prospects. Comparisons to Steve Nash, Magic Johnson, Chris Paul, but problems emerged in his personal life. Teams didn't like that he was obsessed with the Lion King and had a teddy bear collection at home. One report said the Kings passed on him because Rubio's mom cut his steak for him during a dinner with the GM. But the Timberwolves had 2 picks in the top 6. Instead of moving up, they chose back-to-back point guards. Ricky Rubio at 5, Johnny Flynn at 6, but the Warriors took Steph Curry at 7. The worst draft decision ever. Even worse than the Blazers taking Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan, because at least Portland had Clyde Drexler at MJ's position. But Rubio hated his new team. First, they draft another point guard right after him. He didn't understand why. Then he heard it's super cold in Minnesota. Draft night was like a nightmare to him, so he chose to go back to Spain and play for Barcelona. Give time for Minnesota to maybe trade him and improve his skills on the best team in Spain. But his reputation started to crumble. Ricky shot just 32% to start the season, 2 for 17 from 3. The team lost so many games, he lost his starting spot. It turned out Ricky's brilliant passing was holding him back. In Europe, it's disrespectful to put yourself over the team. MVPs are an American thing. But that was drilled into Ricky's head so much growing up, he struggled when given the keys to a franchise. Local media ripped Rubio for how awful his shot mechanics were. They broke down exactly why he couldn't shoot, but there was no time to fix it because Barcelona had to win games. Benching Rubio worked, and Barca went back to the top in Spain. So by the time he debuted in Minnesota, the hype died down, but the hope was NBA experience and coaching would revive him. Ricky had instant chemistry with Kevin Love in 2012. People loved his passing highlights and positive attitude. He played well enough on defense to earn a big role right away. Then, on March 9th, 2012, Kobe Bryant barreled into Rubio and he tore his left ACL. Even missing the final month and a half, Ricky was second place in Rookie of the Year to Kyrie Irving. People knew if he could just learn how to shoot, Ricky would live up to the hype. But that injury lost his speed, his confidence, and any weakness he had at Barcelona only got bigger. Ricky shot an awful 37% from the field, 32% from 3, and 10 points a game. His coach, Rick Adelman, hated Ricky's style of play with mistakes late in games, benched him for veteran JJ Barea. The team then traded Love for Andrew Wiggins in 2014, but missed the playoffs, then had the worst record in the NBA. So in 2016, they hired Tom Thibodeau, who hates guards like Rubio. He loves scoring guards like Derrick Rose or Jalen Brunson. But something much worse happened that summer. Ricky's mom was diagnosed with lung cancer despite not smoking and died a few weeks after the season. When someone you love dies, it's like a fog wraps around you. That's how it was for me. I felt so directionless. I would wake up and think about calling her. It made me want to break my phone, but I couldn't delete her number. I felt like I was losing my mind. To make things worse, the Wolves traded him to Utah the next summer. Rubio grew his hair out, had a beard, looking like a guy who'd gone through big changes. But on the court, the Jazz were a lot better than people expected. Rookie Donovan Mitchell was way ahead of schedule, and 5-seed Utah faced Russ and Paul George in the playoffs. In his second ever playoff game, Ricky dropped 22 points on 5 of 8 from 3 to tie the series. Then, Game 3, a 26-point triple-double, embarrassing Russell Westbrook.
Too comfortable, but I'm gonna shut that off next game, though. Guarantee that.
But Russ was so angry, he got 4 first-half fouls, and Spida went off for 33. Utah upset OKC in 6, but Rubio injured his hamstring and was done for the season. He ended up signing with the Suns a year later, was traded back to Minnesota, but could never recapture those playoffs in Utah. A T-Wolves reporter said, "He should have provided veteran leadership. In reality, Rubio has been terrible and still hasn't fixed his shot. I know, Wolves fans like his hair and flair, but Rubio is not the player he was supposed to be." People had given up, but that year was actually the best of his career. His wife Sarah gave birth to their son Liam. Ricky realized being a dad was so much more fulfilling than basketball. He even said, "When my son starts school, the NBA won't be worth it." But the thing that pushed him over the edge was in Cleveland. The Wolves traded him during the Olympics to the worst team in the league. Cavs were projected for 27 wins, but they shocked everyone with a new core. Evan Mobley, a beast as the number 3 pick. Jared Allen, a borderline all-star, but Ricky was the perfect mentor for Darius Garland. In fact, Rubio had career best scoring, finally having fun again, before tearing his ACL again. He came back last year, but was not the same. "I have decided to stop my professional activity to take care of my mental health. Today, family makes more sense than ever." He has been let down by basketball so many times. He even admitted being close to burned out on basketball at 28 years old, constantly losing in Minnesota. 4 head coaches in 6 years. Huge injuries every time he's making progress. But worst of all was the loneliness away from family. He missed a lot of time with his mom, but won't make that same mistake with his son. Rubio might not have lived up to the hype, but he might retire at 32, having learned a lot about life. Another guy who has learned a lot, but is coming back to the league is Dion Waiters. He once overdosed on drugs during a team flight, but now he's trying for an NBA comeback after ruining his own career.